Hi guys, hope you're all well and none of you got too sore ahead after the result yesterday. Before I get into that, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, welcome. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, and as and when the new content is uploaded, you'll be the first to know. So yesterday, England were victorious in their semi-final against Denmark. It was an absolutely enthralling encounter, I think it's fair to say, for 120 minutes. I actually, the day before, I was on a stream. I might have even said it on this channel, but I certainly said it on West Ham Random with Peach. And if you don't know who West Ham Random are, put it into search on YouTube, have a look. It's our friend Peach, who pops up on a lot of the streams with us and all the rest of it. He's got his own YouTube channel now that he's set up, and it's just a little bit of a different slant on West Ham, through his eyes. So check it out. But as far as yesterday was concerned, I turned around and said, in a funny sort of way, although I want England to win, I actually do want to see them go 1-0 down, because I think this team's been so used to, over the last however many games, going 1-0 up and seeing the game out, which is fine. But as far as I was concerned, I wanted to see, okay, how are they going to react to going a goal down? Are they going to be able to, change gears? Are they going to be able to sort of manage the situation differently? Because it's obviously a completely different animal dealing with a situation when you're a goal up to when you're a goal behind. So although the goal went in, and I was like, no, when Damsgaard got the free kick after about half an hour, which was a brilliant free kick, I've got to say. I mean, he, from 20 yards, he hits it with pace, with power, bend, dip. It had everything, and it was a brilliant free kick. And I've heard some people being a bit critical of Jordan Pickford's positioning. Mate, that went like a rocket, and it was moving in the air. I mean, that was a top free kick. That was a really good free kick. Ronaldo would have been proud of that. So we go 1-0 down, and as I say, I was a little bit sort of, oh no, but at the same time, I was like, no, hang on, no. Now we're going to see what we're made of. Now we're going to see if we've got the sort of minerals, the guts. Can we dig deep when it's really needed? We're in front of a home crowd, 64,000, whatever it was. The vast majority of it was English people, so the support was there, and we're in a semi-final and we're 1-0 down. This is going to test us. Now, we got a goal back very, very quickly. It was an own goal through the Danish captain Simon Kjær. It was a fantastic run and cut back from Bakary Saka, who was coming back and was the only change from the starting 11 against the Ukraine in the quarterfinal game. Jadon Sancho dropped out to make way for Saka. Other than that, it was the same 11 for England. And he played a ball into the sort of, like, as Geoffrey Boycott in the cricket used to say, the corridor of uncertainty. That sort of like that area between the back line and the goalkeeper, where it's like, which one's going to go for it. And I think, in fairness, if Simon Kjær hadn't have got the touch, which put it past Kasper Schmeichel for the equaliser for England, I think Sterling would have put it away. And Sterling had actually had a chance a minute or two earlier, which I think he probably should have done better with, when the commentator turned around and said it was a great save by Schmeichel. To be honest, it was straight at him. I mean, Schmeichel spread himself. He did what he needed to do, but Sterling put the ball straight at him. As far as I'm concerned, he should have done better there. But I think if Simon Kjær hadn't have got the touch, Sterling should have put it away, and it should have been the equaliser anyway. And to be honest with you, from that point on, I think we were the dominant team. And if you look at the stats, we had the vast majority of shots. We had the vast majority of shots on target. We had more possession than them. Pretty much every metric that you can use to measure a game, the stats all point that England pretty much dominated the game. But Peter Schmeichel, that's his dad. I'm showing my age there. Kasper Schmeichel in the Denmark goal was in top form. I mean, he made a save from Harry Maguire, free kick on the right from Mason Mount. He got his head to it, powerful header, put it, to the goalkeeper's right, and Schmeichel moved his feet, dived, stretched full length, got his hand to the ball and put it away for a corner. It was an absolutely brilliant save. So, he made another save. Mason Mount down the right hand side, chipped it. I don't know whether he meant it. It was sort of like a looping ball, and I think it was going to drop in, and Kasper Schmeichel had to sort of pour it away again for a corner over his bar. He was Denmark's man of the match, and when a goalkeeper is the man of the match for the opposition, that you've pushed that team. And even if you don't manage to get your nose over the line, it's like, on another day, if that goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel had an unbelievable game yesterday. But then we get to the 90th minute. It's still 1-1. It's extra time, and you're thinking, anything can happen. But up to this point, Gareth Southgate had made one substitution, which was Jack Grealish coming on. And, I thought he was quite aggrieved with what happened later, but I'll come on to that later. So we start the first period of extra time, and it's pretty much as you were. We're having a lot of the ball. We're sort of like making good progress with our attacking moves, but just not managing to get that little bit of luck that sometimes you might need until about 2 minutes or so from the end of the first period of extra time. And Raheem Sterling is on the right hand side. He cuts in and he goes down, and the referee blows his whistle, points to the penalty spot. Now, obviously, it gets checked by VAR. Now, I think that the way that VAR has been implemented in this Euro seems to have been quite different on the face of it to how it seems to be implemented in the Premier League. And whether the Premier League are going to try and adopt this model going forwards or not, I don't know. But to be honest with you, I probably preferred the use of VAR in this tournament, because it doesn't seem to be quite as much waiting around for decisions by and large, from what I can see. But you might have a different point of view on that. That's fine. But it just seems to me that VAR seems to have been, they were at pains to say that when they were doing the VAR check for the penalty, that it's only going to be overturned if it's a clear and obvious error, which is what we've been told all along. It's only for clear and obvious errors. So if the VAR looks at it and goes, well, okay, I maybe don't agree it was a penalty, but I can understand the reason why it was given, then it doesn't get overturned. Rather than in the Premier League, it seems to be that, if the VAR disagrees with the on-field official, then there's that little bit of, well, I don't think it was a penalty, and then it's looking at the pitch side monitors, and it just seems to take forever. And this is not really what we want to see. We want to keep the sort of like natural flow of the game as much intact as possible. You want the right decisions. VAR should be there to eliminate the howlers where players have blatantly dived. I think Sterling went down a bit easy, but it wasn't a dive. There was definitely contact, but I do think that he possibly went to ground a little bit easy. And to be honest, it's one of those ones where I think if it had got overturned, I could have completely understood the reasons for it. Although I'd have been like, as an English supporter, I'd have been like, what are you doing? But penalty was upheld, and up steps Harry Kane, and you're thinking, this is 2-1, because Kasper Schmeichel, although he's had an absolutely brilliant game up to this point, Harry Kane has scored more Premier League goals against Kasper Schmeichel than any other goalkeeper. So you're thinking, and from memory, I think he scored a penalty against Schmeichel on the last game of the season at the King Power Stadium. And so you're sort of sitting there thinking, this should be 2-1. But Kasper Schmeichel makes another save, and you're like, oh my goodness. But the ball doesn't stick. He probably wishes now, I think, in the post-match analysis, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Roy Keane, Gary Neville, or Ian Wright turned around and said that they think that Kasper Schmeichel tried to hold on to the ball, and obviously it didn't stick. and they think he probably should have parried it for a corner, you know, sort of make the save, put it behind for a corner, and he'd have been better off there. But instead, I think he's tried to catch it. He's not managed to hold on to it, and the ball's rolled out. And as soon as the save was made, Harry Kane was out of the block. Simon Kjaer was not far behind him, in fairness, but it's rolled to Harry Kane, and Schmeichel can't do anything about it because obviously he's just made the dive for the save, and it falls to the feet of Harry Kane. You know, he couldn't miss, and he puts it away for 2-1. And yeah, I mean, you're thinking, right, okay, now we've got our noses in front. You know, half time then, you know, comes very quickly for extra time, and we've got 15 minutes to see this game out. And to be fair, from that point on, it was a pretty professional performance. England managed the game superbly. They were keeping the ball and not letting Denmark have it for too long. There was one chance that sort of, you know, from memory, I really remember, which was Martin Brathwaite. To be fair, I think the ball was probably going wide, but Pickford probably had to make the save, get his hand to the ball, because, you know, if he'd made a misjudgment and he lets it in and it's 2-2, and England then subsequently go out, penalty shootout, whatever, then he looks a fool. So obviously he had to get across and get his hand on the ball to put it behind for the corner. But that was pretty much the only opportunity of note that Denmark made in that second half of extra time. And as I say, England kept the ball well, stopped Denmark from building up any sort of like momentum or anything like that. And to be fair, when the final whistle went, it was absolute euphoria in the stadium. I'm sure it was euphoria in pubs, clubs and homes up and down the land. I know it was here. I mean, we was all watching it, and you know, at the final whistle we was all shouting and screaming and clapping and all the rest of it as if we were there, which we clearly weren't. But you know, this is an absolutely magnificent achievement, and in 55 years, you know, since 66, we've not, as a nation, and you know, we're a major footballing nation, let's not muck about. You know, there are some major footballing nations and we're one of them, and in 55 years we've never made a final of a major international tournament, either a European Championships or a World Cup, in 55 years. And I, to be honest, the West Ham fan in me was probably thinking I'm probably not going to see it until maybe I'm a bit older, or maybe I'll never see it. But on Sunday, I'll get the opportunity to see my nation playing in a major international tournament for the first time and in my lifetime. And I'm just hoping that we do it justice. You know, whether we win, whether we lose, obviously as an England fan, I want us to win. But I just don't want us to play the occasion. I want us to play the match. I want us to play the players in front of us. And I want the 11 players to play to their maximum. And what happens after that, you know, takes care of itself. We've got, if our players play to their potential, then we're going to give Italy a good game. Italy are no mugs. Italy are there on merit. Italy have looked really, really good in this tournament so far. And if there was one team I didn't want to face, it would probably have been Italy, maybe Spain. Fortunately, they met in the semi-final, but we was going to meet one of them. And at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. That's the saying. So just sort of winding back a little bit, though, I thought Gareth Southgate's substitution of Jack Grealish, who didn't seem to be injured. I mean, it may come out, I haven't heard anything. It may come out that maybe he had a knock during the match and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't seem to me on the face of it, as things stand right now, that that's the case. But I think the one thing it demonstrates, and again, they mentioned it in the post-match, is that maybe Gareth Southgate is not the nice guy that everybody thinks he is, and that maybe he is, you know, a steely and determined individual that, you know, as an iron fist in a velvet glove, as it were. And here's the thing I want to ask, because to be fair, Gareth Southgate's coming for an awful lot of criticism at times, and you know, to be fair, I'll hold my hands up and say that when he put the line up against Germany out, I've got to be honest, I looked at it and I was a bit underwhelmed. You know, he had 3 what I would call offensive players, and it was 7 defensive players as far as his outfield unit was concerned. And I sort of looked at it and thought, but we won the game, and we're now in a final, moving on from that. So I sort of look at it now, and I think to myself, well, let's look at it just for a moment. There's only been one England manager that has got England to a final, and that was Sir Alf. Following on from that, there's only been Bobby Robson in 1990 and Terry Venables in 1996 that, up to the point that Gareth Southgate became manager, had actually taken England to a semi-final. And now here we are, Gareth Southgate has taken England to a World Cup semi-final. Don't forget, he also took England to a Nations League semi-final. Now, whether you class that as a major international tournament or not, yeah, all right, it's not the World Cup, it's not the European Championship, but I will include it for a little bit of context. Yes, it's the lesser of the three tournaments that we compete in, but it's not a sort of like a friendly tournament like Le Tournoi or the Rouse Cup or something like that. The tournaments of like consisting of maybe three teams. It's not like that. This is like a European wide tournament, in fairness. But anyway, he's got us to that semi-final, and now he's got us to a final of a European Championship. So I'd argue that if you're looking at tournament performances as your metric, which, to be honest, is the acid test, he's got to be the greatest England manager that we've had since that Sir Alf, hasn't he? Because, like I say, if you take the European Nations League to one side, okay, we'll just concentrate on the World Cup and the European Championships. He's got us to a semi-final in the World Cup, and he's got us to a final in the European Championships, which we might go on to win. But, even if we don't, who else has done anything close to that since 1966? Nobody. I'd make the argument that Gareth Southgate is England's greatest manager since 1966. He might not be, a sort of charismatic individual like maybe Terry Venables was, or Sir Bobby Robson, someone that comes across, as a bit of a character, like maybe a Brian Clough would have done if he'd have ever been England manager. But, he's got us to those stages of two major tournaments. We were quite, possibly a bit naive against Croatia in the World Cup semi-final. In another situation, maybe we'd have got through that. But I do think that possibly that experience has helped this group of players, because a lot of the players that went through that semi-final was in either playing yesterday in the team or involved in the squad in some way, shape or form. But so out of good sometimes can come bad. And like I say, we're in a final, we're there on merit. This isn't going to be easy on Sunday. It really isn't. But like I say, if you want to be the man, you've got to beat the man. Now, Italy are the team in front of us, and we've got to find a way to put them away. Defensively, they're very, very strong. We know that. They always are, the Italians. But we've just got to try and find a way, over by hook or by crook, over 90 minutes, 120 minutes, or God forbid, even penalties, to try and get the job done. And it would be absolutely brilliant, wouldn't it? I know that we're not the only country that suffered with COVID and all the rest of it. This has been a worldwide thing. So if Italy do it, then Italy had a hard time of it, as we all know, with COVID. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm English, and I'm only thinking about England and the positive effect it would have on this country. It would be absolutely brilliant, to be able to go into work on Monday morning, providing you don't phone in with a sore head, would be absolutely brilliant. It's a really good time to be an England fan at the minute, and I'm proud to be English. I'm proud of the team. Declan Rice, I thought, had he covered every blade of grass. He really did. It was fantastic. I was talking to one of my cousins and on Facebook Messenger last night. He's actually a Tottenham fan. And when I saw Henderson on the side, I turned around to him and I said, Rice is coming off. And he turned around to me before the substitution was confirmed. He said, he can't take Rice off. He's covered every blade of grass. And he did. I think it was probably a substitution that made sense in a way, because I think if you're bringing Henderson on, I think stylistically he's more aligned to Declan Rice's game than he is to Calvin Phillips's game. So as soon as I saw him on the sidelines, I'm like, it's probably going to be Rice that comes off. to make the space for Jordan Henderson. And Jordan Henderson didn't do anything wrong. It saw the game out. We won it, so you can't really complain. It's a bit like the Jack Grealish substitute. It's unfortunate on him that he came on as a sub and then in extra time got substituted. And unless he had an injury, you do look at that and think, what's that all about? But at the end of the day, we won the game. So, the means justifies the ends, as they say. So there you go. Anyway, this is just a quick video, and I'm going to shut up now. We're in the final on Sunday. And like I say, if the 11 players that start and any players that are introduced as substitutions along the way for whatever reason, whether it's for tactics, injuries, whatever, they've all got to step up to the plate now. This is a fantastic opportunity. As I turned around in the preview and said, they've got an opportunity. This bunch of players have got an opportunity. And to be fair, even if it doesn't quite come off, even if they do fall short on Sunday, they will still go down in history as only the second England team to make a major final. That they'll want to win it. They'll want a winner's medal, not a runners-up medal. So, the Gareth Southgate, like I say, he's proved himself to be a fantastic manager for England, and I'm sure he'll be on it. He'll be motivating his players and telling them this is your opportunity to carve your name into history forever. Your names will never ever be forgotten by anybody that's an England supporter. Down the years, they will remember your names, and if you actually lift this trophy, they will remember you forever, like they do Jeff Hurst, like they do Bobby Moore, like they do Bobby Charlton, Gordon Banks, all of them boys of '66. They'll remember you in the same way that they remember them. So go out there and win the game, bring it home for England. It's coming home. Guys, thanks for joining me. Don't forget, if you like the video, drop a like on it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified of any new content as and when it is uploaded to the channel. And I'm going to disappear off and start my day's work. Come on, you Irons. It's coming home. Let's go.